498th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com and use promo code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. We're also brought to you by Cut. Cut is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's US-based and available in 40 states. Head on over to Cut.com, that's KUTT.com, and use promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. And we're also brought to you by the Sports Gambling Podcast Patreon. The guys just dropped their bonus behind-the-scenes episode of Sean winning $200,000. Plus, this week's pick'em prize is a free $250 Super Bowl square. Head on over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon to join today.
Howdy ho, degenerinos. Welcome to episode 498 of the MMA Gambling Podcast and the Sports Gambling Podcast Network as we race towards episode 500, where I'm going to quit because I'm tired of making bad picks on bad UFC events. So two more episodes after this, and then I'm hanging it up, and Gumby's coming with me. Let's dedicate this one to Natalia Silva, one of the very few bright lights last night. One of the few fighters that actually was interested in and did well last night at UFC Fight Night, Dolidze versus Imavov. I'm your host, Jeff Chalks Fox. Thanks for coming to the show. Our picks were mediocre. The event was mediocre. Hopefully, as you are seeing this in your pod feed, you'll see this episode is not too long, because I don't want to waste too much time on the garbage that was last night. Maybe it wasn't. I get sour on events if they start off poorly for me, and if I have some bad beats. So maybe it wasn't such a bad event. Who's to say? But I could ask my co-host. He's the positive half of the duo, but he did pretty bad last night as well. But we'll see if he has a silver lining on anything. It would be the one and only Daniel Gumby Vreeland. Hello.
I don't have too much of a silver lining, and I'm actually going to be even more of a bummer for you.
Hey, that's fine.
Yeah, who loves an episode where Gumby's the bummer? Did you think Natalia Silva was that good after that? Like, did you watch that performance and make you think like, oh yeah, she's definitely a challenger? Like, I watched that performance and I'm like, it's really good she beat Vivi Arroyo, right? That's a huge win. It means she's probably one of the top 7 or 8 fighters in the women's flyweight division, no doubt. But she also dropped the first round, never really like turned it up and put it on Vivi. Like she won. You know, she comfortably won the second and third round. I didn't go to the decision and have me questioning things, but she was a negative 330 favorite in some books going into that fight. Did she come out looking like the negative 330 favorite that people thought she was going to be against Vivi?
Well, we said the odds, but we weren't a fan of the odds. So first of all, so the odds were skewed. I think she looked real good. Maybe she got hit a bit too often for my liking. But yeah, she fast, explosive.
Took her a little too long to find the range. I think that's maybe my biggest bummer of her is that, like, you know, dropping the first round to Vivi, and not that Vivi's a bad opponent. Like, we shouldn't be like here knocking Vivi Arroyo, because she's really good in her own right. She's had some great wins in the UFC, and for a while it looked like she was a challenger. So, I'm not knocking her as a potential win. I'm just saying, like, the collective public, and especially the betting public, had Natalia Silva a lot better than she looked there before the fight. So, like, not that she didn't look good. She didn't win. She wasn't one of the picks that we got right. But, if I was looking for a bright spot, I'm not sure I could have pointed to her.
Well, tough. I picked her anyhow. No, we said right off, like I said, we said in our episode that we didn't think she was worthy of minus 330, but she passed the test. That's I think maybe that's the key thing here. And she does have pretty good power for women's flyweight. So, who would you like to see her fight next? Since we're breaking down her fight already, do you have anyone in mind?
It seems like Lauren Murphy is in a fight with the UFC brass. This is just my inkling because she was scheduled for a fight, or there was a fight announced. Maybe this is another case of the UFC announcing a fight when they didn't get anybody to sign on the dotted line. Because that seems to be the new trend. So I'm not blaming Lauren Murphy for this. In fact, I'm probably blaming the UFC for this, but it seems like she's in a fight with UFC brass because recently she had a fight booked. Would it have been this one? It might have even been this one for the record. She had a fight booked, and then all of a sudden she said, "I'm not in that fight," and they pulled her from the rankings.
Yeah.
It's like she's not ranked right now, but like that's the right kind of test for Natalia Silva, right? Like if they really want to see if Natalia Silva's ready for the Blanchfields and the Manon Fiorot's and the, everybody else at the top of this division, she's got to get by somebody who, not that Vivian is not tough, but somebody with like, top level toughness like Lauren Murphy, because there's pretty much no flyweight tougher than Lauren Murphy. Am I wrong about that?
No, you're not wrong about that. So hopefully she's still employed by the UFC, though. We'll have to see. You don't cross the boss. All right. Well, there you go. We already got one fight down, so that's good, Gumby. Well, we're going well here. Of course, we're talking about UFC Fight Night, Delizi versus Imavov. Yet another middleweight main event. I didn't get a chance.
2 weeks in a row.
I know. Didn't get a chance to count, but this is pretty much where they stick middleweights. Main events of mediocre Apex cards. So, and it was a mediocre fight. The main event, was it not? With a weird scorecard in the end. Roman Dolidze did not look good. He looked horrible the whole fight. Yet someone gave him a draw, thanks to a Nasser Imavov losing a point. Little Ron McCarthy. I think he is he not the son of Big John McCarthy?
Is he really?
I'm not sure.
I don't think so. I think Ron McCarthy's an old dude, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah, really?
Okay. Yeah, I could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. But...
No, it's his son. I'm right.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, Ron and John.
That's great.
And his Twitter is Big Ron McCarthy. So he really is leaning in. He's really leaning into that, isn't he?
Yeah.
Anyhow, yeah, interesting scorecard, but it was the right person won. 49-44, 47-47, 48-46. All Dolidze could do was hug Imavov, and literally that's all he was doing was hugging him. Didn't get anything going. I knew Imavov would be better on the feet, slightly better, but I thought Dolidze's power would be better, but that was not the case. Imavov was really piecing him up on the feet, illegal blows and all. So Gumby had this one right. He had Imavov minus 160.
All-time crazy illegal blow, by the way.
He clearly had his hand down. His hand down was forever. It wasn't like he was going up and down. His hand was there. He was set on the ground forever.
Yeah, it was a bad one. And I will just say, this is kind of it's pretty much exactly the beat that I had on this fight to begin with. Roman Dolidze, his clear advantage was that he is a better wrestler, or a better grappler, rather. He's better at jiu-jitsu. He's got good sweeps and transitions and stuff like that. And the one time he did pull guard, he wound up getting some stuff done on the mat. But that was kind of it, is I just knew there was no way that he could get it down there. And if you look at all of his recent wins, they're all with his hands. So it's not like he's getting fights down consistently. And so if he can't beat the guy with his hands and he can't wrestle him, I mean, there was no beating Imavov on the feet on Saturday. That was clearly Imavov's realm, and he looked good doing it.
Does it matter? Does any of this matter? I know nothing really matters technically, but it doesn't matter near the top of the division.
It might for Imavov. I mean, like,
yeah, that's what I mean.
In the last 6 or 7 fights, who is he lost to? Just Sean Strickland.
Yeah.
It's just Sean Strickland. So like he might be, I mean, it's a bad division, but like he might be a top 5 middleweight for all we know, right? Like, could you not see him? I mean, no offense to Dricus du Plessis, but like, could you not see him just like picking apart Dricus for a while? I could. Like,
maybe, who knows about Dricus now? He might actually be good.
Yeah, he might actually be good, but I don't think he could wrestle Imavov. I wouldn't count on that. And like the way Imavov looked through 5 rounds, he looked fresher than Dricus did in round 5. Now, granted, that was round 5 against Sean Strickland, who turns up a pace and blah, 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 blah. But like, I don't know, like it's a bad division, but like Imavov looked good in a bad division.
So Strickland, Imavov 2 coming to a UFC Apex near you very, 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 very soon, right?
Probably.
I'm sure it would.
No, there's other people you could give. How about Marvin Vettori?
Yeah, he's another totally UFC Apex.
Marvin Vettori versus Imavov in the Apex in May. Book it.
There you go. Oh boy, can't wait. All right, before we move on, let me tell you about the SGP Patreon. I try to plug this every episode, but I got actual script to plug it with now. And look, if you're on YouTube, you see there's our fearless leaders right there, Ryan and Sean. The SGP Patreon is alive and well. The guys just dropped this month's bonus episode. Behind the scenes, a breakdown of Sean's $200,000 win. I believe that was through DraftKings. This week's Patreon pick'em prize is a free $250 Super Bowl square, plus access to all the picks, sheet, and exclusive channel on Discord. If any of that makes sense to you, head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. And we are brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is a way to play alongside your favorite fantasy players all season long. NFL, NBA, NHL, college basketball, and college football. MMA. Don't forget about MMA, people, and MMA. And tennis. Simply pick higher or lower on your favorite player's fantasy stats and cash in. You can win 100 times with some spicy plays. Gumby, do you got a spicy meatball for us?
Spicy meatball. Let me think about this one because we
got one coming up.
We got meatball coming up. I was like, we got a meatball.
Yeah, a spicy meatball coming up.
So let's see. You're getting this in your ear on Sunday. So let's go to Sunday in the NBA. I'll take the number I saw earlier on Jalen Green's points against the Timberwolves last night was real low. I can't remember what it was off the top of my head, but I remember looking at it and being like, "Oh, that seems low." And he's been hot as of late, and he's scoring a lot of first buckets too, which I've been writing about too. So let's go with the higher than on Jalen Green's points.
All right, book it. He's kind of a hot and cold guy, but still, Gumby says book it. Even though the Timberwolves have the best defense in the league, Gumby says book it regardless. So watch along, make your picks, and maybe make a little cash over our Underdog's mobile app or website, underdogfantasy.com. When you sign up with the promo code MMA SGPN, Underdog will double your first deposit of up to $100. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code MMA SGPN, as I throw some shade on Gumby's pick.
You never liked mine. And I hit mine on Friday. I hit mine on Friday.
Yeah,
my three.
And you hit a big opening field goal too. I saw, right?
Yeah, Michael Porter Jr. baby, 750.
Plus 750.
Yeah, so
fantastic.
Yeah, it was a good Friday.
we did. It almost is Good Friday, right? A couple months. We did not hit the co-main event. It was not a good.
We should have. We should have.
Yeah, we should have. Renato Moicano won. I forgot to watch his post-fight interview, but apparently it was unhinged. As per usual, he beat Drew Dober 29-28 across the board. I don't know. Dober did the most damage, so he won one round. I think you could have given him the first round as well. Moicano was there was a lot of laying on top of Dober and being warned by the ref, but not actually being stood up. So, but I don't know. I think I'm just being sour.
I think there's an argument to give the fight to Dober. I ultimately thought Moicano did just enough to win in those positions. And in the time, I mean, you just always know how the optics looks of that much time on top. Clearly the second was Dober's. I think he would have won the third had he not tried one more lat drop and wound up on the bottom. Like, it worked in the second round, which is dumb as hell. And he didn't recognize that it was like dumb as hell when he lucked out. He was like, what if I hit a second straight lat drop on Renato Moicano? Not realizing like the element of surprise was the reason it worked the first time. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna say it sucks that he lost this one, but it was kind of his own fight intelligence that cost him the fight. And yeah, let's just chalk it up to that. Neither of these guys are serious threats to most of the people in the top 15.
No. Yeah. Bad fight IQ for sure. Why would you want to grapple with Renato Moicano? But
I don't know.
If
he was also winning in the third on the feet too. Like in the second, he was in like that tangle and like had to do something to like change the tenor of the round. And that lat drop wound up being a big piece of why he won it, I think.
Yeah.
And so like, but then in the third, I don't think he needed it. So to go to it just seemed like a weird move. And kind of disappointing because I think he was right on the path to winning that fight.
Yeah. Next fight, Randy Brown took care of Muslim Salikov as we were hoping. Did not see it coming via a one-punch knockout, but so it did. 317 in the first round. If Randy Brown's got some power to go along with his massively long arms, he could make some noise, but it could be the case he's fighting an old beat-up fighter in Muslim Salikov and just caught him in the right spot. What do you think?
Yeah, I tend to think it's more the latter than the former, but who knows? Like sometimes we get these guys as they kind of get deeper into their career. Is Randy Brown old? Randy Brown's not old, right?
No.
Okay.
Randy Brown is 33.
I didn't
know
He's MMA
from
old.
He was born in your neck of the woods. Do you know that?
I did know he was born there. Yeah, I don't think he lived very long there.
No, it's who would want to live in that city, Gumby?
Is Springfield?
It is Springfield, yes.
Yeah, people should know already, just in case you're looking this up on Wikipedia. I do not live in Springfield and only sort of near it.
Are you not going to Springfield today?
I'm not. I don't ever go to Springfield.
Oh, okay. I thought are you going near Springfield today?
Yes, there's a town near it that sounds like it that sometimes I have to go to. Yeah, I mean, I think like, so he is kind of getting his like old MMA age, right? 33, not young anymore. Yep. Maybe he's getting like a little bit of that Jim Miller later career power, more focused on just sitting on his punches instead of getting on his bike. But again, I think this is probably just beating up Muslim Salikov, and we should chalk it up for what it is.
Are we firing Muslim Salikov?
I think so. That's 3 in a row, right?
That means I think he snuck a win in. He beat Andre Fiallo when we were against him. So he's lost
when Fiallo decided he only had about 22 seconds of gas. I remember that.
Yeah. two straight and 3 of 4 he has lost. So yeah, he's fired. Sorry.
Yeah, probably. He's probably making good money too, being that he's been there forever.
Yeah. So anyhow, interesting to see if Randy Brown can put it together. We shall see. We talked about Natalia Silva. She won unanimous decision 29-28 against Vivi Aharujo. We had that. Next fight, 11-second eye poke. Aliskhab Kizriev, eye poke, Mahmoud Muradov, who you would think he would have had things going in his eye in his other job, but yet it happened to him here as well. There's the good face there. Anyhow, some people know what I'm talking about. So we can't really talk about this fight. Nothing happened.
Or anything you've ever said. We can't talk about.
That's one of the worst things. I didn't say what. This is probably
it's maybe worse that you didn't.
I know. It's gonna be run back, isn't it?
I don't know. Kizriev doesn't ever fight. So
true.
I mean, I bet you Muradov gets a fight again soon, but I don't know if he'll be against Kizriev. I'm sure he'll be pulled on out of 17 or 18 more fights.
What does Mikey think of it?
He hated that. He hated that fight.
Mikey, he hated that fight, and he hated my joke. And then in the opener of the main card, Chuck Buffalo. How could we go against Chuck? We did. I think we've gone against him every fight in the UFC, perhaps.
Just 2.
Just
no, we didn't pick against him in the other one. We picked him in the other one because he was fighting Blood Diamond. He just looked like trash, and he just looked like trash in that fight and made us get off of him. And then he turns out that he can box a little bit, which
go figure. He TKO'd Gilbert Urbina 447 in the first round. Sad we did not have this one. We had Urbina, and Urbina was one of our. Yeah, he was your lock. Boo. Yeah, so is Buffalo good or not really?
I don't know. I wish I could tell. Is
Urbina good? No, right? Is Urbina lost 2 straight now?
No, he won his last fight.
Okay.
He won his last fight. He won his last fight.
Yes, he's 1-2 now.
Yeah, he's probably got another one in him. Although this loss does look really bad after, Chuck Buffalo couldn't do anything against Blood Diamond, and now he for some reason can against Urbina. I don't know. It seems like I still can't tell you if he's good because that shot, don't get me wrong, there's power on that shot, but who at welterweight can't knock somebody out with a big hand, especially when you're like new to the organization, you're young and up and comer and they signed you. Like, obviously you've probably got some power. So like anybody seemingly could probably land one punch. So I don't know. Nothing about his performance other than the punch made me like get excited about him more, right? Like, Did you watch any of that and we're like, oh, like it looks like he's polished a lot since that? No, he just looked like he did last time with a
polish is not the word. Polish is. I don't think polish is the word we're ever going to use for him. Probably he's not that type of fighter.
He's raw. He's raw as hell, and I don't know how well that'll play forever.
Yeah. Anyhow, we do not play so well in the main event, in the main card. 2 and 3 for me, and 3 and 2 for you. You did a bit better. So congrats, Gumby. You should be so proud. So proud. All right, let me tell you. Let's pick things up and talk about our sponsors. Everything's been a bummer except for the sponsors, right? Let's tell you about Cut. Cut is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's US-based and available in 40 states. Peer-to-peer social betting is a new and better way to bet directly against your friends or other users on sports, politics, pop culture, and other events with verifiable outcomes. And they have tons of fun. Always butcher that part. Tons of fun. Social features that give it the feel of a real betting social network. Cut offers lower vig and fully customizable odds. Create your own bets. Cut handles the payment side of things, so you never have to chase anyone down for dollars. Social features include group chats, betting leaderboards, head-to-head history, user profiles, fan groups, and more. And the rewards are you get your cash back every single time you bet against your friends or other users. Cut also allows you to list almost any kind of bet, perfect for getting action on those fun Super Bowl prop bets. Cut is the peer-to-peer social betting platform that's US-based and available in 40 states. Head to cut.com, that's KUTT.com. Use promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. What kind of odds can they get for a Taylor Swift sighting at the Super Bowl, Gumby?
Negative 700.
That's it? 700,000 maybe. All right. Hall of Fame bets, Gumby. Let's talk about them too. Win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season with Hall of Fame bets, the sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research every NFL, NBA, and soccer bet with historical stats and data. Enter any parlay idea in the Hall of Fame Bets Revolutionary Parlay Optimizer tool to get hit rates broken down by leg, as well as an expected probability for the entire parlay. Sort all players by hit rate for any bet to learn which players are hot, which picks have value. Stop betting in the dark and join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame Bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame Bets. All right, spicy meatball time. She looked good too. She was a positive of the night, but who she fought though, it was a lean, mean Molly McCann, Meatball Molly. For the record, she was not called Meatball because she was chubby. It's because she worked at Subway is why she was called Meatball. So anyhow, she is lean and mean now though. She looked very good physically and looked very good in the cage. Molly McCann submitted Diana Balbicha, really submitted her, had her screaming in pain with the armbar. 1 second left in the first round. I think the takeaways is she looked good at strawweight, could make some noise at strawweight if she can keep cutting down there and looking solid in the cage, but it's not a big deal beating Diana Balbicha, who she already beat before and who is 2-5 now.
It has huge issues with her grappling, huge issues.
Yeah, 2-5 in the UFC, and I'm going to fire her too, despite her training near me. So she's fired. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where like the UFC gave Molly McCann the right kind of opponent coming down to strawweight. Clearly, they like the marketing behind her, right? She's a Barstool sponsored athlete or whatever. So like I know that they like her and they'd like to see her keep winning. So they gave her the right kind of person for her to build something, and she did what she was supposed to. But I will say I do really think the move to strawweight wound up being a really good one because she looks ripped. She looks like she's in great shape. She didn't look emaciated on the scale. Not that she didn't look like, it probably took some hard work to get there, but like she looked like she was still in good shape then. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Molly McCann does down there.
Yeah, definitely. And they even mentioned in the lead up to the hype for the fight that she's one of the top fan favorite fighters in the UFC. So they have almost always given her favorable matchups. So all right, moving on. This was not a favorable matchup. It started off like it was. This fight almost ended immediately as that Maxim looked fantastic against Charles Johnson until he didn't. And Charles Johnson, the Stolen Valor Olympian, won this fight, flyweight, 29-28 across the board. Surprise.
It was a surprise, but it's interesting to see how like Maxim, like you said, came out so strong. And that's kind of all he had. Because that didn't happen in the Tyson Nam fight, right? Like the Tyson Nam fight was another kind of like weird anomaly where he like looked really great in some moments and not in others. But this one just seemed like he almost ran out of steam, or like the wily veteran started to figure him out too much. So yeah, obviously a big ding in the prospect status of Azat Maxim.
I already had like the stories written in my head how he's gonna join the Tatsuro Taira field of top prospects, and not yet, but he was on his way to that, and then he was not.
I thought he was on the Tatsuya Taira kick as well, and I've said it time and time again with like young 20-something fighters and coming from countries who like the UFC doesn't have a ton of people in, and it happens to be in a division that's really light. Like he had all of the makings of the kind of guy they would push, right? Not a ton of guys from Japan out there that they can push. That's why Tyra's getting the push. Not a lot of guys from it's Uzbekistan, right? I'm not messing that up.
Yeah, sounds right.
Or no, Kazakhstan. Mahmoud Muradov's Uzbekistan. Kazakhstan. Not a ton of Kazakh fighters who are making it to the tippity top. So like, of course they want to push him. And he definitely gave them a reason not to. So kind of upsetting for him.
Do we know why Charles Johnson has Olympic rings on his back? Have we talked about this before?
I don't think so. I don't think I even noticed it.
Yeah. Oh, we were talking about it in the Discord too. Upper back. So, yeah.
Maybe Junior Olympics. The Junior Olympics seem like an easier thing to make.
Yeah, I guess. Themba Greenbow, perhaps is a star on the rise. Definitely has the story behind him. He came through for me, Adam, at minus 250. Gumby had Pete Rodriguez, who's, I assume Gumby's going to fire after getting knocked out. Punch behind the ear, 32 seconds into the fight by Greenbow.
I don't know that you can fire him, though. Here's the thing. Is it like he did lose in 30 seconds to Themba? But apart from that, like, we haven't seen him fight somebody who we like had to think about the outcome for more than 15 seconds, right? Yeah. It's like a fight with Jack Della Maddalena. You couldn't have possibly expected him to win that. And I think that one was short notice too. A fight with Mike Jackson, you couldn't have possibly thought he was going to lose that. And so, like, this is the first time we've had a fight where you were like 99% of the people didn't get the projection correct, right? Like maybe only 75 or 80% got it correct this time. So, like, I still think you got to give him, somebody a little bit lower down in the rankings than Themba, and we'll see what happens. Maybe give him. How about him versus Urbina in a loser leaves home match?
Sure. Gumby, it should be noted he's one of the 20% who did not get this pick.
I am correct. That's correct.
We both didn't get the next one right. It was a bad night for us picking dogs. We both swung and missed on all our dogs. Blake Builder did not look good against
really bad.
Young Lee. Daniel Cormier was flabbergasted that Lee has a brother with almost the same name. It totally threw him off. And yeah, he's such a buffoon.
I don't think I heard that part.
Yeah. It's Zhang Young Lee and Zhang Hyung Lee, and they blew his mind. Anyhow, Blake Builder got what he deserved for not having the nickname The, and lost 30-27 across the board. Maybe Lee is actually good. I was questioning him due to, having not seen a lot. We've seen him on Road 2, but that's not the highest level of competition, and possibly a shaky resume, but maybe he's actually good because he looked really good last night.
The takedowns impressed me. His wrestling game in general, both offensively and defensively, was really impressive. And it should be noted, Blake Builder historically has been pretty good on the mat. Obviously, it didn't show in this fight, but maybe that's more of a feather in Zhang Young Lee's cap than we had previously thought. So I'm going to give it up to him at this point.
And the fire is under Blake Builder's feet now because he's lost 2 straight. So, all right, catch weight, Luana Carolina. The cheater came in overweight, 128. And then she beat our girl, not our girl, but our pick, Julia Stoliarenko. TKO'd her with punches, 452 into the 3rd round. We were saying we really hope Stoliarenko can get this to the ground. Apparently we were wrong in that aspect because it got to the ground and she was content to play off her back, and Carolina just took it to her.
I think she was exhausted. I think this was a case of, originally I had said Stoliarenko didn't look so bad at flyweight, and like maybe that's the right place for her. I kind of pegged her sort of like we feel about Molly McCann after the fact here. But I think this is the case. She doesn't belong at this weight class, or needs to do more work to get her body ready to fight at this weight class because she looked tired. Well,
she was fighting a bantamweight, to be fair, so.
That is fair. Yeah, a bantamweight versus a flyweight for the most part. Yep.
Yeah. Marcelo Medeiros, we had this one right. He looked good. Unanimous decision over Landon Quinones, 29-28 across the board. My lock, the one, here's another bright spot for me. This is my lock pick of the week, and I hit it. Minus 130.
Yeah, I would say I cannot stress this enough. I really hope they give Landon Quinones another fight. 0-2 in the UFC. But like 2 very closely contended decisions to Nasrat Haqparast and Markel Medeiros, mostly taking place on the feet, both very exciting fights. Like, man, that dude really deserves one more shot. It's too bad he had such an awful showing on The Ultimate Fighter too. Like it almost feels like he could have beaten a lot of the dudes on that show, and he for some reason grappled with Jason Knight, which was really dumb and didn't work out for him. So So, I mean, kind of fun fight, but exactly what I was thinking there with Medeiros is that I thought he was just going to be the slightly sharper dude on the feet, and I think he was here. I heard some people complaining about the decision. Did you think the decision was wacky here?
I
mean, we picked Markel, so
yeah, no, it was a close fight. Is all I really have to say about that. But nothing. I don't think anyone really won last night that shouldn't have. Some of the scorecards might have been wacky, but I think the right man or woman won every fight. So no,
I agree with that.
People like to complain, Gumby, if you haven't noticed. All right, in the opener, sloppy heavyweight battle. Well, you were kind of about calling these guys chunky guys. They are chunky guys, Gumby.
Yeah, they look bigger than they were the last time I saw both.
Very chunky last night. Jamal Pogues was way faster on the feet, way faster striking than Thomas Peterson. Beat him 29-28, 29-28, 30-27. We had Peterson. It's Gumby's fault because he interviewed Pogues and obviously gave him the motivation he needed to win this fight.
Yeah, he talked about wanting to fight in chicken coops again, or
missing
when he fought in chicken coop.
Last week's top turtle was very good. I forgot to tell you that, and very good interviews, especially Jamal Pogues. He had good stuff.
Yeah, he's that dude rules. So it was good to see him win. I mean, I think I even said in the breakdown episode, I wish I could pick him to win because I really do like him. So it was nice to see him win. It was interesting to see how his wrestling defense held up because I thought Peterson's wrestling was just kind of going to be too good for him, and it definitely wasn't. Peterson also landed some big shots, so like maybe there's some promise for him in the future. We don't have to necessarily completely write him off, but like you said, it was an opening fight between heavyweights.
Yeah, which means they're really if they can't put them any higher on the card, that means they're really borderline UFC heavyweights. If UFC likes to put heavyweights,
although that puts Pogues at 2-1 in the UFC, right?
Yeah, look out. But yeah, I just wish athletes would look like athletes and actually take care of their bodies and stuff. But nonetheless,
you want them all to look like Nikola Jokic?
No, they're yeah. I want to look like Jokic. Exactly. Gumby got me there, didn't he? Zing. All right. We both went 5-7. Gumby. Wow, that's not even mediocre. That's worse than mediocre. I lost 472. Gumby lost 450. So Gumby is in the lead on the season. We're both at 46% on the year. We're doing fantastic there. Gumby's only down 16% return on investment. I'm down 18%. So there you go.
And this is blindly putting $100 on every money line.
Yes, don't do that.
And we would advise the betting public not to do that.
Yes. Locke Urbina, Gumby had, he lost that. He had Murdov as his dog. That did not happen. He had Peterson inside the distance. That definitely did not happen. I had Medeiros as Millock. Hooray, the one bright spot. I had Murdov as my dog, and I had McCann via decision. That's fine. She took care of Belbicha quicker than that. So consensus on the year, we're only at 43%. Underdogs, we're both down money on underdogs. Things have to pick up, and we have
there's time.
There's time, and there's a big event coming up. We can after I tell you about the bonus winners last night. Charles Johnson as that Maxim fight of the night. Randy Brown, Molly McCann, performance of the night. And there's a big event next week for us to, or this coming week for us to get our money back, right, Gumby? A fantastic event. Middleweight main event. All right, Jack Hermanson, who lost his last fight and hasn't won 2 fights in a row since I think 2017. He's main eventing against Joe Pyfer. At least Joe Pyfer is interesting. Dan Ige, Andre Fili. That's decent, but both guys aren't really world beaters at this point. Robert Brzik, is that how you say it? Bryzik versus Albert Duraev. Brad Tavares, Gregory
Duraev pulled out of that fight.
Oh, that's right. Is that fight
they found him a replacement? It's now Ihor Portiera.
Wow.
Both taking a fight on short notice and dropping down to middleweight for the first time.
What could possibly go wrong? Right? You were thinking the same way. What could possibly go wrong? Boy, oh boy, oh boy. All right, yeah, I'm going to go off Tapology because they're better. Brad Tavares, Hobocop, Gregory Rodriguez. We like him at least. Michael Johnson, Darius Flowers, Rodolfo Vieira, Armin Petrosian. That's your main card, ladies and gentlemen. Prelims, it can only get better, right? Trevin Giles, Carlos Praches, Bolage Oki, Damir Hadzovic, Luma Lukbumi, Bruno Brazil. That should be on the main card. That's a very good fight. Devin Clark, Marcin Prachnio, Jeremiah Wells, Max Griffin. That's a decent fight, actually.
That's a sick fight. That's a sick fight.
Zach Paunga, Bogdan Guskov, Haider Emil, Fernie Garcia, Daniel Marcos, Ari Keeling. Fantastic.
I just have to say it's 2024. And not only is Michael Johnson on a UFC main card in 2024, he's a favorite.
Oh, I haven't looked at the odds yet. Fantastic.
How wild is that?
I have a feeling someone mentioned this in Discord too. We're going to be paying for the sins of UFC 299 and UFC 300 for a while, aren't we?
I think so.
Like half a year, we're going to have some weak cards, and then we got a pay-per-view the week after that. So not the greatest pay-per-view, but it's a pay-per-view.
It's pretty damn good. I kind of like it.
It's all right. It's all right. It's not 299 or 300. We're gonna have to have 299 versus 300 argument at some point. 299 might be better, right? Well, I guess 300 is not done yet. So
we'll see.
Wait and see.
Well, right, I think they put three. Here's my quick take on it before we put this episode to bed. I think they are making 300 the better to sell to casuals version of 299. Yeah. 299 way more intriguing in terms of actual matchups and who's on it and that kind of stuff. 300 name value, sell it to casual style.
There you go. Wait, good job, Gumby. Good job summarizing it. All right, let's get out of here. That was long enough, right? And Gumby's Wi-Fi died at least twice during the episode too, so he's gonna have fun. It's going to be a Frankenstein episode. If the video of us jumps around a bit, it's because Gumby's cutting and pasting us, right?
Just all of a sudden, my face is here, and then
exactly.
It's here. One of those.
Gumby's not a shapeshifter. All right. Discord, get in the Discord. It was fun last night. Gumby was hiding because his pics were doing so bad. Gumby was hiding.
Nah, I went out with my wife, so I was like kind of watching on the cell phone, and then I had to catch up, and and plus my pics suck, so I was all.
And you're going out today too. What's with you?
I know I'm such a social butterfly.
Yeah, it's true. All right, Discord's the place to be. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Twitter, I don't know if it's a place to be. We have. Gumby and I have a lot of followers, so I guess we want you to go there. SGPN MMA, Gumby has a lot of fun with that account for us. He's at Gumby Vreeland. I'm a Jeff Fox writer there, and I'm the same on Instagram. Instagram's better than Twitter X at this point, at least less toxicity. And I see pictures of Gumby's kids once in a while, which is always fun, and his dogs, more importantly. What else can we tell you about? moneymma.substack.com. That's my MMA writings and stats and pick'em contests are all found there. People enter the pick'em contest. Hopefully I will get the results for this week up very, very shortly. And we're running again this week. So you can subscribe there for free and get yourself into the pick'em contest. Gumby's got Top Turtle MMA podcast. If you haven't listened to last week's episode, it's worth a listen. It's very entertaining interviews. And we told you about sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. Obviously go to the main site, sportsgamblingpodcast.com as well. Gumby and I have articles there every day. And sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Make sure you buy your swag, your gear, so you can look cool like Gumby and I look today with our SGP hats on. All right, we're going to be back tomorrow. And guess what, people? We're going to be back Tuesday. We're giving you a bonus episode this week because Crunch feels like he's forced to watch DC and RC. So we're going to give him extra content. So hopefully he can cut the DC out of his life. It will be me, Energy, Jeff Fox, and Meatball Gumby Vreeland. And we will talk to you then. See ya.